Hello. My name is Elder, and welcome back to the channel. If this is the morning, evening, afternoon, whenever you happen to be here, thank you for joining us. Lee, joining us in the chat, good evening. Captain Gurm, wow, just incredible. Thank you for joining us. I'm going to turn off the light in the background so it's not so harsh on your eyes. But, yeah, we have a lot to cover tonight. This is a situation that is a little strange, a little interesting, something that I wasn't aware that was even a thing, wasn't even happening. Here I am, back, quick. And so, thanks for joining us, channel with nothing on. I got no mic. Yeah, I think my mic's just really quiet. It should be there, but let me know if you can't hear anything. Turn it up. It may be just a little bit quiet. We have a lot of videos to go over, a couple articles to go cover, but apparently there has been a situation going on in India since the beginning of this whole lockdown situation. And from what I can see, citizens are being beaten in the streets by police officers, and it's not really being talked about, which is a strange situation. I'll tell you right now, I didn't think that India's government was an authoritarian regime, but apparently from what we're seeing, it may be slightly authoritarian. And so I'm going to cover a few different things. We have a lot of different videos to watch, and so I'm going to pull another video up for you to watch while I read an article for you. The article's from Vice, and it is entitled, "Indian Police Are Being Accused of Beating a Man to Death for Violating the Coronavirus Lockdown." So before I get started, guys, as always, if you'd like to help support the channel, links are in the description below. This, as all other videos, will probably either be removed or demonetized, so you're lucky to be here. The last stream that we had, completely taken off YouTube. They don't want me to talk about the things we're talking about. And we were just talking about how social distancing's gone too far, and I read a few news articles that the media's put out. So what do I do? What do I say, right? So, I'm going to go ahead and pull this up for you guys, and we'll get started. I'll read the article for you. So what we're going to be seeing are just images coming out of India, videos that have been surfacing, and I will read the article. Article entitled, "Indian Police Are Being Accused of Beating a Man to Death for Violating the Coronavirus Lockdown." Disturbing videos are circulating of police officers beating and humiliating people who they believe have violated the new nationwide lockdown. Indian police have been accused of beating a man to death for violating the country's coronavirus lockdown, as citizens report a wave of police brutality in enforcing the new restrictions. Lal Swami, a 32-year-old resident of West Bengal's Howrah district, was beaten with long police batons known as lathis. These must be the things that you're seeing on the screen. When he left his home to buy milk Wednesday. To buy milk, his wife told Indian media. He was taken to hospital and declared dead on arrival. His family said it was the injuries from the beating that killed him, while the police say he died from a heart attack. The alleged fatal beating is the most serious in a string of attacks by Indian police, many of them documented on camera, as we can see, against people discovered out in public areas since the government imposed an unprecedented 21-day lockdown on Wednesday. And as you guys can see, this is pretty ridiculous. Obviously, they need to enforce strict rules, but I mean, what's the situation, right? Like, how do you do that properly? Is this the right way? I really don't think so. Is this enforcing social distancing, or are these police officers putting themselves at more risk by doing this? Look, they're smashing up people's bikes. It's like, what? Why? Back to the article. Many clips circulated on social media showing officers beating people with lathis, sometimes ordering them to do humiliating tasks like push-ups in the streets as they assaulted them, right? And these are things that you're seeing on the screen. And exactly like Captain Grimm just said, this is a disgusting abuse of power. And so as much as people like to go ahead and say that, this could never happen to them, this is what happens when people abuse their power, when you give authority to individuals who are not well equipped to handle that type of power. Back to the article. Public anger was only exacerbated by a video tweeted and then deleted by a police superintendent in Chandigarh, which showed an officer spraying his lathis with disinfectant before going out to enforce the lockdown. The video, which is subsequently reposted by other tweeters was captioned, "Full Tiari, full preparedness." So, they're clearly going out to beat people with these sticks. It's absolutely wild to me to see this happening. But what do you say? I don't know. I'm at a loss for words. It's a little bit interesting. It's something that I didn't think we would see happening during this time, but I obviously was just naive, and I'm not fully aware of the types of things that are happening in other places in the world. As much as I like to feel as though I am well versed in what's happening around the world, when you see images like this and how quickly things can change, it really puts into perspective how lucky we are to live in a place that we do. So I'm going to keep these videos playing. Like I said, I have a few of them for you to see, and so I'm going to play this one and another one. I'm going to keep it going in the chat, and then I'll read you another article. And I want to know, why do you think this is happening, right? Why do you think the people are still out? There's a 21-day lockdown on. Why are they still going about doing their thing? Why are they out in the streets when it's such a densely packed, populated area that this is something that they seriously do need to get a grip on, because this could be crazy, right? And so I'll let you observe these videos for a minute or two here, and we'll discuss it in the chat. Why do you think this is happening, and what could be done to differently, and what would be done correctly? What would be the right way for this to be done? Let me know how you feel in the chat below. Yeah, Lisa L says, makes my butt hurt just watching. Captain Grimm, to serve and protect. Nope, to beat and humiliate. Orwell would weep. This is exactly what's good. This is exactly what's happening. Hey there, Mercury Black. Thanks for joining us in the chat. Says, that's gotta be hard on the cops' souls. I wouldn't want to endure being what we become when we abuse power and act brutally. And it's an interesting thing, right? It's an interesting concept and a way to think about it, right? All of these individuals were just people like you and I. They, well, perhaps not exactly like you and I, but pretty the police officers, the military, they're all just made up of people like you and I. And but people that made a choice to protect and serve, right? They had that choice that they chose to make. And with that came this unexpected rise of power. And, when this is all done, how are they going to feel, right? That's a very good question. Philosophical, Mercury. Thanks for bringing it in. Lee says, I could think of a few people who would deserve this, and I do too. But, who does deserve it? Who gets to enact, right? Who gets to enact that authority? Captain Grimm, I think the right way is to treat people with dignity. Beating them in the view will lead to greater violence in the long run. They are treating people worse than animals on the way to slaughter. Which is absolutely true. They are being humiliated, beaten in the streets in order to stop people and shun them from coming into the streets. And yet, it doesn't seem to be working. And so why? Why would people still be coming out and doing that? And that's the question that I bear and that I ask you all, right? Why would they be doing this still? Do you have any theories as to why? Because we're going to be getting into that soon. I'm going to read you an article with a couple theories as to why this would be happening, and I want to know what you guys all think. So, it's kind of strange to see, but it's something that's happening and that's real. And so, if you just close your eyes and turn your back, it's not going to go away. And I haven't seen many articles about this. About a week ago, there were a few articles that were brought up, but it hasn't been an ongoing situation. Everybody's dealing with their own problems right now. And, it's good to keep in mind, if you are a humanitarian, if you fight for the rights of human individuals across the world, that, we all need help. I don't know. It's one of those things. This needs to be brought to light, I guess. I don't know. This is a pretty crazy thing, at least in my opinion. Let me know. Maybe I'm just crazy. Maybe I shouldn't even be bringing it up. But, what do you got to say there, Lee? Trying to show that they have some sort of power. Since India has so many people and they revolt, the people would win. And that's definitely true. The people would outwin the police any day because there are so many people. It's the same situation in China, and the theory as to why, now that the stream's gone, I guess I could just say it again, the theory as to why I think that they allowed individuals to leave their homes, even though things are clearly not safe. If they keep people locked away for too long and the individuals decide they're going to revolt, it's going to be a bad scene for the Chinese government. I'll tell you that much. Mercury Black, you say there. Or for the thrill of indulging in the dark side, using this as an excuse. And I could see that with a lot of them. Look at this guy, right? It's like there's no reason to continuously just hit somebody as they're walking away and doing what they've been told to do. Yet you see it continuously over and over. This isn't just one video. There are many videos being displayed on the screen. And I can only assume this video will be taken down, but we're doing it. I'm not shying away from the YouTube overlords. Ned, thanks for joining us in the chat. Does anyone know if beatings are still common punishment for minor crimes in this place? Regardless of if they are or not, the widespread use of it at this time is pretty ridiculous. You can see that they aren't really enforcing things properly, that people aren't complying. And right here, someone's being pulled off of their bike with other people walking around in the streets just looking at them, filming. Why would you be spending all this time interacting with this one person, potentially infecting yourself, getting yourself sick, everything, all in general, whole thing? I don't know. But yes, like Captain Grimm says, based on this, you would assume that it is a common punishment for minor crimes. But is it whatever? That even brings it up to more of a thing. Like, I didn't think that India was an authoritarian regime. Is this okay in the civilized world? So they're just behaving in their usual despicable way. Then, well, not every individual, right? It's the government in that the government's set a precedent for what people are gonna do. No matter where you are, no matter how free you think you are, the government's still setting the precedent for what individuals find correct or not correct. Hence why you find in the United States there are states that have legal marijuana and states that do not have legal marijuana for recreational use or for medical use. It's all over the place because the government sets the precedent as to what the public thinks is acceptable. The public can pressure the government to change, but it takes the public to realize that they have the power. So remember that, guys. You have the power. So we've been watching these for a bit. We're going to get into the theories around why this is happening. What's going on? Why are they continuously going out into the streets and doing this sort of thing, right? And so this is from the Star. This was from a few days ago on April 4th. And it says, for India's laborers, coronavirus lockdown is an order to starve. Now, keep that in mind, right? For the working class in India, the lockdown is an order to essentially kill yourself. Go ahead, die in your home. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, right, the one that they've been talking about, has ordered a lockdown of India's 1.3 billion citizens to fight the spread of coronavirus, urging people to distance themselves socially and work from their home. But social distancing means hunger for many in India. With a workforce heavily dependent on manual labor, it would be an unheard of luxury for the rag picker or street vendor who lives day to day. About 80% of India's 470 million workers are in the informal sector, lacking contracts and unprotected by labor laws. Many are manual laborers in the fields, factories, or streets of India. We asked people how they were making ends meet as the economy grinds to a halt with the coronavirus pandemic. India reported 1,024 cases and 27 dead as of Sunday. Here are some of their stories. What is he afraid of? The police are not being able to eat. A rag picker said this. Aishu and his two brothers spend their days at one of Delhi's biggest dumps. They are rag pickers, scavengers who hunt for scrap metal using a giant rusted sieve to help them sort through the stinking refuse, right? The garbage. If Ashu works really hard, he can earn 53 cents a day, and his brother has been unable to go to the dump regularly since the lockdown was announced, because if they are caught by police, they get beaten, like we've seen in all of these videos. I miss my friends, he said, and adding, he and 4 buddies would meet at the dump site every morning, work for a few hours, and then play with whatever treasures they found. Broken toy cars, tattered dolls, or ripped clothes. He's 12, by the way. Ashu is 12. And he's sad that, A, he can't see his friends, but that he's not even able to make any money, which is a sad life for a 12-year-old to be thinking of. I hear there's a virus from China going around, he said, but I'm more afraid of the police and not being able to eat. When the money dries up, we will have to find a way to come back here again, he said. On Wednesday afternoon, normally peak rush hour in Delhi, Ramichua Ravidas was bicycling around in the big, lazy circles in the middle of a main thoroughfare, boredom, hunger, and his empty pockets in his mind. On a good day, if he has a lot of energy, he can make up to 450 rupees or $6 US, he said. He lives out of a garage he rents his bicycle rickshaw from. and worries that he will be evicted soon. He has had no customers since the lockdown, which obviously makes sense. If you don't even have a house, how can you work from home? He said, worrying lines, furrowing his face. My home is my work. Today is the first time in my life I have had to accept food from a charity. He said for him, it was a race between whatever the virus or hunger got him first, whichever. I'm not worried about Corona. If Corona comes to get me, at least this life of misery will be over. So he's just not having it, like he's just having a bad time. Walking around barefoot along Delhi's deserted streets, his saffron-colored clothing stained and tattered, Baghuri said he had not eaten in 2 days. A sadhu, or religious ascetic, he makes about $1.50 every day by offering prayers to people on the streets. Baghuri, who goes by just one name, had never gone hungry a day in his life, he said. He had always found a meal in Hindu temples or gurdwaras, Sikh places of worship, but they had closed since the lockdown started last week. While he agreed with the Prime Minister's decision to try and prevent the virus's spread by limiting people's movement, he was frustrated with the government's lack of planning for the destitute like him. And so, essentially, what the article is saying, and what I've read to you throughout this last little bit here, is the fact that a lot of India's middle class, their lower class, they don't have the means to work from home. They need to eat. They are struggling to survive. And this is one of the reasons that you continuously see people out in the streets continuously working like this at their shops. Because what are they going to do? They're freaking out and they think they're going to die one way or the other. And so they're going to go out on their own terms. Ned says so that, and Captain Grimm says this is why we don't have a colony on Mars yet. Grimm also says Blue Top needs to learn some jujitsu. It's one of those things. It's not a good sight to see, but it's something that is happening and that I thought we should bring to light. That's one theory. Those were 3 different stories, 3 different individuals. I'm not sure if that broke up the best because of their names being harder for me to pronounce. Baghuri was the last one. We had, what was his name? Ramadaran, and then the first guy, the kid. What was his name? Ashu, the 12-year-old rag picker. Interesting stories. I thought that it would be something that we should bring up, something that shouldn't be left in the dark. And as you can see, this is pretty wild. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below. There are a few more videos for us to watch, even though they're all pretty much the same. You've seen it. You've seen what's happening. As you go through, this is continuously just what's going to happen, right? They find people on the streets, and they're like, here, let me just beat you down. And so from the first story that we saw, apparently someone has been killed from the police, yet the police are claiming that it was not them, as they make these people roll in the streets and hit them with sticks. And the theory around why people are potentially doing this. I want to know what you guys think and how you feel. Do you think that this is justified? Do you think that this is something that, because it's something that's a cultural norm already, that they're just amping it up, and it's like people were just being ticketed all over the place here? What do you think? Hey there, Riley Swift. Thanks for joining us in the chat. Captain Grimm says, so saddening, but I'm glad you're giving their story light. Well, I'm glad that you're here to hear it, and make sure that you all share this with anybody who may not normally hear a story like this, because, like I said, YouTube takes down the stream. So the more that you share it, you can upload it on your own channel, do any sort of thing like that. Maybe make your own video, right? Maybe I can inspire you to start your own YouTube channel. But yeah, guys, I just want to get the story out there and see how you all felt about it. Let me know in the comment section below after the video is done, and let me know how you feel. Personally, kind of shocked. That's why I brought it up. With that being said, My name's Elder. As I always say, be your own hero, kids.